Hi, what I like to touch on this video is how do we adjust or how do we manage our thought processes when we go into a situation. And to help us do that, I want to share with you three very specific what we call presuppositions. So presuppositions are thought processes that we have when we are dealing with a situation. So the first presupposition that I find is applicable to every situation that we face is called the map is not the territory. The map is not the territory. And basically what it means is this. It means that whatever you see, whatever you understand, whatever you know about a situation is never the entire picture. So the map that you have, which is what you know, what you see, what you believe is your reality, is just one way of looking at things. The territory can be seen from so many different angles. And as a result of that, what we see is only one angle. So when we go into a situation and when we understand the map is not the territory, it means that we approach a situation knowing that what we know is one version. However, in order for us to really comprehend and understand the situation, we have to take note and put effort into understanding all the different versions or different understanding from different angles. And if we have that mindset, what happens is we are a little bit more patient and less judgmental. So, for example, if we face a customer who is angry, rather than we get angry because the customer is rude to us, we understand that the map is not the territory, and therefore what we see is he's an angry customer, he's scolding us, for example. But from the customer's point of view, something else could be happening. And therefore, now what happens is because we understand that our map is not the entire territory, now we take effort and pains to understand where the customer is coming from. So the first presupposition, which I find useful in practically any situation, is the map is not the territory. The second one is behind every behavior is a good intention. Behind every behavior is a good intention. And basically what it means is when someone does a certain action or carries out a certain behavior, as far as they're concerned, from their perspective, that's the right decision to make. So they have, from their perspective, that's a good intention. They have a good intention. So an extreme would be someone who jumps off a cliff, who commits, who tries to kill himself. So from our perspective, when we see someone trying to, kill himself, what we say is that's being crazy. Well, that's our perspective, our map. But remember, our map is not the territory. That's the first presupposition. Now we're going to the second presupposition that says behind every behavior is a good intention. So now we try to understand what is going on in the mind of someone who does something like that. Then when we try to understand, there are possibilities. Possibilities could be, the person, as far as the person is concerned, there's no other option. So when there's no other option, there's only one option, you've got no choice but to take that option. Yes, they may lack knowledge, they may have less resources. However, as far as they're concerned, their behavior, behind that behavior, they have a good intention, is to end it all and to end the misery for them and for whoever who's around them. So behind every behavior is a good intention. If we take the time to try to understand where they're coming from. So again, coming back to a customer who's angry, who's throwing a tantrum. If you look at it, why is someone angry and why is someone throwing a tantrum? Behind every behavior is a good intention. It could possibly be that the person is trying to seek some form of redemption, trying to get some form of justice as a result of something that's happened to him or her. So someone who feels that they have been shortchanged, they gave $10, they expect $5 back. Instead, they only got $1. So as a result of that, they feel that they've been cheated, they've been lied to, they've been treated unjustly, and maybe possibly they get angry. And the reason they get angry is to seek attention and justice. They want their $5 back or their balance of $4 back. So behind every behavior is a good intention. So the intention is good. Basically, they want justice, but the way they go about it may not be the best possible action. Okay, so that's the second presupposition. Again, very quickly, first presupposition is the map is not the territory. Whatever you see is just what you see. However, it's not the entire picture. Therefore, to make judgment, to make a decision just based on what you know and what you see is not the best possible way to go. Instead, we have to understand that there are many other possibilities or possible ways of looking at the situation, and therefore we should take and make the effort to understand the different perspectives. So the more information we have, the better judgment call or decision we can make. The second is behind every behavior is a good intention, which means that when we ourselves make or do something, it's always with good intention. When we scold someone, our intention is good because we want to rectify a wrong, for example. So our behavior is a result of our good intentions. So the same applies to everyone else. So someone who shouts, someone who throws a tantrum, that's a behavior they've chosen because behind that behavior, as far as they're concerned, they've got a good intention. They want to seek justice. They want to, be treated fairly. As a result of that, they chose an action, which may not be the best selection of an action. However, that's what they've chosen. So those are two particular presuppositions. The third is, let me just read it out. The best possible maps or the wisest map is the wisest map is the widest and the deepest. And what this means is basically, in order for you to understand the situation, if you really want to understand the situation, your map or what you see, you've got to expand it, which means that you've got to seek more information and you got to seek not just width but depth to really understand the situation. So the best maps that you can possibly have is when you expand your map. So when you go into a meeting, when you go into a discussion, so rather than immediately make assumptions, and assumptions basically means that you're just basing your actions and your conversation based on the little that you know. So rather than jump to conclusions, what you do is you say, hey, let me expand my map first. So the wisest maps are the maps that's widest and deepest, which means that expand your map whenever you go into a situation rather than speak first and make decisions and maybe regret later. We first seek to understand. So we first try to understand and expand our maps. So when we expand our maps, then we take more into account. Therefore, whatever conclusions or judgments that we make will be a better judgment or better decision. So those are three very simple presuppositions. The map is not a territory, which can be applied to any situation, which is a very good way of thinking whenever we approach any situation, especially sticky situations. Second is behind every behavior is a good intention. So that's a way of understanding the maybe inappropriate behaviors of others. Someone who's rude, someone who's angry, someone who's throwing a tantrum, someone who's being sarcastic. So once we understand behind every behavior, behind that person being sarcastic, is a good intention. So there may be something behind it. So if we take the time and effort to understand, therefore now we're in more control because we understand not just our perspective, but then now we understand their perspective. And based on that, we are in a better position to manage the situation. And when we are going through those thought processes, we are also avoiding being emotional. Now we bring very logical and rational. Remember, when we get affected by emotion, what happens is our animal brain comes out and we're not able to think rationally and logically. So instead of doing that, what we do is before we go into a situation or before we approach the situation, we think, okay, the map is not a territory. Okay, what I know is what I know. There may be much more to this. So I've got to explore. And when an appropriate action is what comes our way, we say, hey, okay, behind every behavior is a good intention. So let me just try to figure out what that good intention is. And once we're able to more or less understand where they're coming from, it's easier for us to deal with that. And the third is basically the third is a summary of this, the first, second, which is the wisest map is the widest or the broadest and the deepest map, which means that the more you expand your map or understanding of the situation, the better position you're in order to make decision or take an appropriate action or to make a better judgment call. Okay, that's a short video clip on managing our thought processes when you go into a situation, which can help us in any particular situation. Thank you for listening to this video clip, and have a nice day. See you on the next video clip. Bye.